Was that it?
It's hold on. I think it just fell out.
Oh, but why is it so loose like that?
I don't know. Okay, let me see if I can plug it in the other side actually.
Is that just the light? Or?
Yeah, it's just the light. We're still good. Okay, I think it'll stay in there.
Alright. Okay.
Yeah, good start. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 10 of Chat with a Rat with Shane Justin. Say hello, Shane.
How ya doing?
I will start out the show with asking you the same question I ask everyone first. How long have you been doing comedy for?
So, and I was looking back at a video yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, but when I saw like the first time I got on stage, it was in Orlando, the Fat Fish Blue.
Yeah.
And
that's at the Improv, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right next door, and that was 2018.
Okay.
And then I remember like, and I was excited to fucking go up. I had like took a trip to New York, and I think I took like a LSD experience. And it was like one of those things where I'm like, dude, once I get back to Orlando, I'm gonna do this. Like, it's just something burning in me, and then I just did it there first, and after that it was like a few times, and then I started to make my rounds, like other clubs in Orlando.
Okay.
And then pandemic hit, so I started looking at like videos and stuff. So like, it ended about like 2019, and then from 2019 till 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It's been where I just got reintroduced back into the comedy world and at LOL.
Okay. How much do you think that you did it before the pandemic started?
Before the probably like 10 to 12 times on
Okay.
stage.
All right. Well, yeah, that's a decent amount.
And I'd say between like 4 different clubs.
Okay. All in Orlando?
All in Orlando. Yep.
I was going to ask you about that also. Because I still haven't even made it out to Orlando yet. What are some good like open mics that they have out in Orlando?
So there's a few that are not running anymore. One that I actually been to, I think 3 times. It's called Sleuth's Magic Show.
Oh, okay.
And it was right on iDrive, not too far from the Improv. It's like maybe like 2,000 feet.
Oh, all right.
Across to another like parking lot, much more than that. I conflated the two parking lots, but it's like maybe a minute drive.
Okay.
And that it was a good room. It was a small room, and there was a magic show that would go on, and when the magic show was over, they would go right into the comedy if they wanted, and it was a free show. Like if you went into the magic show, you would go. That's your ticket there.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes if it's like not enough people, they would just shut it down.
Yeah.
But I bombed terribly there, dude. I looked at footage the other day, and I was like, dude, it just was like so awkward.
Yeah.
And that was something I couldn't even look at for like till now, like 3 years.
Yeah, it's hard to watch sometimes.
So that spot, Fat Fish Blue, the other bars where I started to go. That's in downtown Orlando. It's called The Other Bar.
Oh, that's the name of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think, The Other Bar, same owners now. I guess that they're running Harry Buffalo, which is like now known. So I guess the same guys.
Is it in the same spot?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not too far though. But I'm trying to think of like the other places that I went. There were about like 4 that I actively went to, but 2 of which I don't remember the other one, but I had heard that was no longer, people not doing mics there.
Oh, okay. Do you still ever hit up any mics out in Orlando at all?
I did one because I was with a friend, and I was like, hey, me hit a Monday spot. The Harry Buffaloes.
Yeah.
And I did it once. Not too many people there.
Man, you would think that there'd be more people out in Orlando for stuff like that.
When it's packed there, it's set up like a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
So like they have like the high top tables in the front, And if it's packed, like you got a good crowd. Like
Yeah.
I ended up doing my material that you've seen me do, very structured and very like it's more for like a show.
Yeah.
Whereas like I saw the other comics kind of doing crowd work. Because
Right.
you got a bunch of college kids like lingering around and just sitting on the sidelines, and everybody was in the bar in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was just like, I'm here, dude. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But that's the first time I went back into it, and I had spoken to Kermit Gonzalez, the guy who really is like in that scene down there, and he runs that spot too. He hosts that spot. Just spoke to him about like kind of getting back into that scene, trying to like dip my toes back in. I need more space to do this.
Yeah.
So that was like, I heard Tuesday's a great day to go, do comedy downtown, anywhere in Orlando, Winter Park.
Okay.
And then I did this place called Austin's not too long ago, but it's like, dude, it was just so like laid back for like my stand up, I guess.
Yeah.
I ended up doing crowd work and.
Is that a coffee house?
Yes, that coffee. Have you ever done that?
I haven't done it, but for some reason I know it. Like I don't know if I've been there or like, but I know what you're talking about. So,
Yeah.
But I haven't done comedy there, but I know what you're talking about.
It was.
I don't know why.
I mean, everything is just like the lights are kind of dimish, and you can see everybody, and this dude just like blazed out of his mind on a couch right in front of me.
Right,
I just
right.
started talking to him. Yeah, as far as like trying to get back into reach, more so the reasoning behind me going to those, spots to just try things out is to connect. And network with comics that I see, like, maybe perform on like a Milk District lineup.
Right.
And then if you bump into them, and I'm like, I just kind of pick their brain, kind of just
Yeah,
see like,
yeah.
how do I get in and out of, where is it at right now? How many spots could I do on this day, that day? So it's more of just kind of like learning, and obviously just getting more reps on stage.
For sure. I got an ad today on Facebook that was like saying something about Milk District comedy and had like.
You'll see it on
pictures.
Instagram or something, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was on
What was it?
Facebook, but
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I know that's like an area of Orlando, right? That they call the Milk District.
Is it Orlando or Winter Park?
Oh, I don't know. All that
I don't know
blends
if
together for.
Well, so I guess Milk District, it's like where you would see the showcased. Like that's where they promote, but like Wool & Bush, I guess is the same stage maybe. I haven't been there yet, but
Okay.
Wool & Bush is like the open mic stage.
Oh, okay.
And it's a bar. I've yet to go there, but I think they run on a Monday as well.
All right.
Yeah, as far as like the Milk District, that's when the best comics from Orlando just getting up on stage, and they got the whole lineup. It's promoted pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
I see it all over.
I see.
like,
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times, and like I said, I didn't even know what it was. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll ask you. Why did you choose to get into comedy to begin with?
When I think back to like how when I first started watching comedy, it was like my brother and I had to been like 13, 14, but we would just watch the Comedy Central presents and all those like 30-minute specials or and we just watched them again and again, and everyone that we hung around like cousins, like we just annoyed the shit out of them because we just kept watching. We laughed at the same jokes. Like grew up like Sebastian Maniscalco. He was one of my favorites. Dan Martin is his name. There's a few guys that are still doing it probably, but back then I got really enticed with like comedy, and I think I've always been a comic. I always try to make people laugh. Like when I think back to high school, I've always just very inappropriately, like I didn't know how to like be funny.
Right.
It just kind of came out of me.
Yeah.
And there are obviously times where you kind of like where you see like, okay, like, hey, people actually thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Besides you. And,
Right. Yeah.
So you're like, okay, and it doesn't really click. Like, you don't ever really think you're gonna be on a stage with a mic and actually do this. But
Yeah.
as far as like the seed planting, that was around like that age. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I watched, like I really studied comedy as far as, well, I didn't watch action that much. I didn't watch dramas really. You know, like the hot thing came out in the movies at the time, maybe. But everything was comedy.
Yeah.
Romantic comedies, you know, what you name it. So.
Right on. Yeah, I know. Like I used to watch a lot of stand-up comedians, and well, I won't say like a lot. I wasn't like super into it, like whenever I was younger, but I liked it. Like there was a few that like every time I would see that they had something new or something, I'd be like, oh, cool, and I'd listen to it, you know, like Mitch Hedberg and stuff like that. I'd be like, oh shit, he's got, you know. But there was like a few, but and then like somebody that I was like in a relationship with for a while was like really into comedy, and then so like they got me like super into it, and like they were like just like real like I can't think of the word, but like they would like really, you know, like pick it apart and be like, you know, this
they were very analytical.
Yeah.
The comedy.
And it made me like look at it that way and really appreciate it too. I'd be like, damn, you know, like that's
And you look at the art form behind, like just entertaining.
Yeah, and then so I started. That's around the time I was like, man, I wonder if I could do this, you know, because I was in like bands my whole life growing up, and I was always like the lead singer of most of them. Yeah, right. I was usually like always the lead singer of most of them, and like, you know, I would tell jokes on stage and stuff like between songs and stuff like that, and they were always super dumb jokes, but like people would laugh most of the time, but I never like thought like, oh, I'm gonna be a stand-up comedian or anything. But then like whenever I started really like looking into it like deeper, I you know, like developed like a great respect for it, and I was like, wow, this is like something that's difficult to do, you know, and it takes guts, you know, a lot of guts, more so than, you know, I can be on stage with, you know, 4 or 5 guys behind me, and if we suck, we all suck. We all eat it together on stage, you know. But when you're doing comedy, you eat it all yourself, bro. That's
Dude,
on you. You know.
Fucking worst.
Yeah, you can't blame it on the guitarist playing the wrong riff, or, you know, the drums being out of tune or whatever. No, you did that. Like I remember asking the person I was dating or whatever, and being like, do you think I could do comedy? And they're like, I don't know, like, you probably do whatever you wanted to if you put your mind to it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know, like, I thought about it a lot for a while, but I always kind of was, like, very, like, hesitant about doing it. And then finally I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to try this. So I started writing jokes, and I wrote jokes for years and didn't do anything with them. And then finally, I whenever I decided I was going to, I was like so nervous about getting up there to do it, because I was like, I've spent so much time writing these jokes.
When did you start like writing? Like
I wrote for
writing a joke on paper.
So I wrote for 2.5 years before I ever got up there and did it the first time. So
okay.
I think I've been doing comedy now for about 7 months or so. So I don't know, whatever that equates to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been writing
It's
jokes.
crazy because like you have a presence on stage, especially when there's a great crowd. It's like you would never guess 7 months.
It's accidental. And sometimes you just I don't know, are lucky like that, I guess. I don't know. I remember doing like my first couple sets, and people were saying to me like, oh, I love your delivery, I love the way you like are, you know, do the, you know, tell your jokes or whatever, your delivery's great. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Like, I'm just trying to think, like, I don't like. But I guess it just works for the way I write.
You
I just lucked
into it. How your brain works. It's just like I don't know where this is even coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm just doing this.
It just clicked. I got lucky with it. But yeah, so I was like very like nervous to do it at first. And I remember I went to I think it was one of the comedy carnivals that they had at Pink Piano, and I went there and just to watch, because I was like, I just want to see other people do it, you know. So I watched like all these other comics get up there and do it, and when I was sitting there watching them, I was like, I think I can do this. Like, I'm pretty sure I can do this. So like the next week, I went to like the open mic they had there, and got up there and did pretty well. And I was like very relieved, because I was like, if I get up there the first time and all these jokes I've been writing for the last 2 years, like if they just bomb, I'm just gonna be like, I guess this isn't for me, you know. I guess I'm not meant to be a comedian.
It's weird to even think that, like, you don't know, like, everybody struggles. Like,
Yeah. I was, because like I would go through my jokes and I'd be like, this is really funny to me. But, you know, I hadn't told those jokes to very many people. Only like maybe like 1 or 2 people I told them to, and they were like, you know. I'm like, oh fuck, maybe it's not that funny, you know. But then when I was able to get on stage and tell it to a crowd, like I was like, oh, this is funny, hell yeah, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's
dude.
one of those things where my approach has always been like before even getting on stage, a lot of the jokes that I had written down was like things that I had worked into a conversation.
Yeah.
Like I just been and they're mostly stories of my life, and even the stuff you see me do now, it's like all of that comes from some kind of truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The best jokes, usually, not all of them, but usually the best jokes at least have some nugget of truth in it. You know?
Yeah.
You know, and like even like most of my jokes, as ridiculous as they are, there's some small level of truth in there where I've built this crazy. I've built this crazy.
And it's
joke
it becomes like that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
I'm gonna always tell this shit this way.
Right. Yeah.
It becomes that's a true comedian with like I'm at a point now where I'm just flowing with the comedy mind, where it's like I'm trying to turn everything into material.
Yeah.
And I'm serious at times because I have to be for certain things.
Right.
But as far as like when I have the opportunity to just express and be myself and like crack a joke and see how I know how awkward it is to be somebody in society, and very insecure, they have anxiousness, be depressed, and just be in public.
Yeah.
So I got like now that I've healed from that, when I'm out in public, it's like I could like analyze the world, and it's a different approach. It's like, okay, I could just make everybody feel like I could see when somebody's feeling a little bit weird, or like they came at me with an attitude. I'm like, hey, this isn't about me. Like,
right.
Like, what's up? Like, talk to me, dude. You know, like maybe not like try to extend it too much, but like let them know, like, hey, just you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Comedy helps you just evaluate your surroundings, because you're very self-critical, because you're on. It's not like anything like where like we only see actors on like on TV, movies, shows, and we're seeing like a rehearsed product, whereas like we're on the spot and it's like we're judged immediately.
Yeah.
And we have to uphold, you know, we have to critique it and try to make it as polished as possible, and that we need the audience. Like it's like we can't even do it in our bedrooms or in front of a mirror with a mic.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No.
It's like we need them so bad.
Absolutely.
Just like I need when I'm creating material around like my brother or something. He's a great example. Like when we were just really flowing, and we just start talking about ideas, and then I start just rambling. And then I'm like, okay, I have a bit. Like I didn't even realize that I'm just creating a bit that I'm gonna tell on Wednesday.
Right.
But I try to like think about like losing my train of thought. Thinking about like what kind of approach do I have to have and conserve as far as like energy wise. Looking more into my character too, and I'm sure you too. Like what I was saying as far as like us being very critical in our work, because we have to display in real time where people are gonna judge us, they're gonna give us feedback, and we're gonna look at our videos that we recorded, and then we'll see like, okay, why do I look insecure there, or why?
Right.
Oh, maybe they actually like when I fucked up there. You know, and it's like talking to my therapist yesterday about this. Shout out to the therapist if you have one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But she was telling me about that, like and she has no idea what comedy world is, but I tell her
Right.
about these things. And she's like, it doesn't have to be perfect, Shane. Like, perfect is boring.
Yeah.
And she made me think about the times where I messed up, or I just kind of like broke character for a bit, and the people just start laughing immediately.
Right.
And it's like, oh, they don't want to see perfect. Like,
No.
They don't like you know what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
they want to connect with you.
For sure.
And that's a process in itself. Like I work on that every. I've been seeing a lot of comics live as of late, just to see like what's their approach. How do they connect with these people?
Yeah.
How are they like scanning the room? And I've got feedback. I've got advice from you personally.
Yeah.
Anybody I see that's got something going the right way, just trying to pick their brain.
And it's good because I can see that you listen and you use it, which a lot of people don't do. They're just like, oh yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
But I can see you implying, even like, a few tips I've given you. I can see you imply it and use it on stage, and you're doing a good job with it, So that's good. It's good to have that, like level of like humility about your own, like your own
Process.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Be like, I can work on this. I can make it better. Even, like I'll have people tell me jokes sometimes, and they'll be like, I think, or like not tell me jokes, but like be like, hey, you can do this joke like this instead. You should change this ending to this. And I'll always take it into consideration. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't think so. But
yeah, there's a few I don't think so.
yeah. But there's been a few that people have told me, and I'm like, that is funny, but
Yeah.
I just don't know if it works for me,
For your style.
But
Yeah.
I'll try it anyways,
Right.
and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always good to like any sort of criticism or critique that somebody gives you. It's always good to at least analyze it and think like, is this person right? Does this make sense? There are a few times where, it depends on the person and what they're telling you, but there are a few times where you're just like, no.
And it may be, that's their outlook on things, but they're, I guess, trying to help you in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the comics look out for each other.
For sure,
in
or
many
a lot of
ways,
them.
especially
yeah.
our crew that we perform with every week.
Mhm.
And that's something new for me. I didn't have buddies. Like,
Yeah.
I'm an introvert to the highest degree.
Right. Yeah.
But when it comes to like seeing that camaraderie that's like grown each week,
Mhm.
and the feedback that we give and the encouragement, and like we've seen each other bomb or do okay, and then we've seen each other kill,
Yeah.
and all that is good stuff. And it's like it's hard not to relate.
Right.
It's such a personal thing to
Yeah.
comics because it's like nothing you could imagine. You can't relate to your peers at work.
Yeah,
Some 9 to 5 gig. Like it's not or many art forms that rely maybe on skill. Like it's a very difficult thing because you're portraying ideas
Mhm.
and you're convincing the crowd. You're fooling the crowd in a sense, but like obviously you make them think about things that they didn't consider.
Yeah.
That they don't have time to consider, and you're just putting it in their brain, and you're getting crafty, you're being clever with like your punchlines, your timing, your cadence. You're really like it's a beautiful thing with an art form when you look at it like that. When I look at the people that don't take the criticism,
Mhm.
or even myself, dude, like even just texting you, I'm just like. A part of me is just like, I guess I'm doing this, but I'm not an insecure person anymore.
Right.
I'm very secure, so I'm okay with looking like a fool or asking for help.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you don't
there's
look
times
like
where
a fool for asking for help. You look like a fool if you don't ask for help.
Well,
and
that's
you suck.
that's what most people do. Though. Most people don't ask for the help, or like, hey, I need to like polish
Yeah.
or get better at this,
Yeah.
or like, and I'm at that point where I'm just like, you could judge me the hell. I want to be judged.
Yeah.
We all want to be judged.
I respect that about you. You. Ever since I've known you, you've been very like open and been like, yo, dude, if there's anything I can work on, let me know. Like type of deal, and that's a good outlook to have, man. Because a lot of people are way too fucking proud to fucking ask anyone something like that, and and maybe that works for some people. Maybe some people are good enough to be that proud, but most of them are not. Most of these people that are super proud are just gonna continue sucking. Like
it's you gotta put all that aside.
Mhm.
Like, that's why it's good to record yourself.
yes,
It's good to
always.
record yourself. Listen to that shit on the way home. Look at the videos. Listen to the sound in the back. You gotta hear every little fucking thing.
Yes.
You gotta see all your movements. Like even one of the bits that I have that you just time the word differently at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like now I'm running it, and it works every time.
Absolutely.
It's like, and I feel good about it.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's a
I
good
get a
bit.
double laugh. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
good.
Yeah, it's a good bit.
Like,
you just needed one pause,
yes,
and that's
yes.
it.
And it worked, and it killed
Yeah.
like before, but it's like it's not. There's times where it just didn't, like it was too fast,
Right.
and I didn't see that.
Right.
It's like we don't. That's the part of like communicating with the people that you're doing this with.
For
'Cause
sure.
who else am I gonna ask to critique my act?
Yeah.
I need the people that see me.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I tell you.
And that know about comedy.
Yes.
And that do it as well. Like Mike, I had this one bit, and it's like that bit that I have about like dudes getting paid for jerking off in front of people.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it used to go. It used to be different though, and it was like way longer. And Mike pulled me aside one night, and he's like, "That's a funny bit." He was like, "But it's too." He's like, "It doesn't need to be that long." He was like, "You can trim that way down," and like and he gave me like a couple suggestions. So I took like those suggestions, and I didn't do exactly what he said, but I trimmed it way down and made it way shorter. And he was right. It works way better now that it's shorter. Like, and it's easier to tell. It's a shorter joke. I get more laughs for less of a joke. That's a win-win.
Yeah, it's just easy to kind of keep the ball rolling afterwards.
Yeah.
You don't have to think too much about like, the entire joke.
Yes.
Just being too long, especially if you have a short time to fit it in.
That's something too. Is like, whenever there's too much too much going on with a joke, like it's super long and detailed and it goes here and there or whatever, I feel like you really have to work on keeping the crowd's attention to get through all of that, to get to your punchline. The shorter it is, you don't have to work as hard, which but that works for some people. Some people have like big long stories that they tell, but it's still usually, if they work, it's like a big long story, but it's kind of almost a lot of short jokes into a big long story, because they have things in there to keep the crowd's attention,
Mhm.
It's just structured in a different way.
Right, and when you look at the trajectory of your career, it's like you're gonna have time for the longer stories. Because you're gonna be required to have more time
Right.
on stage. So if you're doing like 5 to 7 minutes right now, when you get 15, 20, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
40 minutes, like you have to fill in a lot.
Yeah.
So like you probably want to work on certain longer stories,
Right.
which is how I started. All the jokes you see me do, all new, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of those. Some I've like kind of like trimmed down, but they were all long.
Right.
And when I started to do them on stage, it came out so crappy because I'm like stuttering and I'm just like forgetting the details here, and I'm like,
Yeah.
So when Mike told me too, he was like, you have good premises, you need the punchlines.
Yeah.
You need to set it up and get the punchline. And right there, like I took the advice immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I could do this too. And then you started to see that, like. And it's fun actually, because I make them all day.
Right. Yeah.
Like little fucking one-liners. It's
right.
fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
But I know there's jokes that I have that I believe in them.
Yeah.
But they're long.
Right.
They're
right.
long and they're going to require more time. I did that event in my brother's art show.
I was gonna ask you about that. How did that go?
That was
That good, huh?
I'll be honest, dude. Let's be honest. I was gonna say it was great, man. Okay, so this is the first time my brother has a vintage boutique shop in the downtown area of Winter Haven. He sells clothing and jewelry. He has a head shop, so he sells bongs, pipes. He has a record room, very vintage style store. They get plenty of business, and it's on 3rd Street in the Winter Haven area of Florida.
Is that what the